I'm so fed up of people telling me that I must hate the poor because I'm a capitalist. We need to talk about inequality, capitalism, the gender pay gap, and this whole idea of fairness that's being floated around like it's our moral compass. You have been lied to by the mainstream, and it's not just misleading, it's actively distorting how we think about progress and living in a society that actually functions. Because here's the thing. When we strip back the numbers and look at the actual data, the problem is far more nuanced than the headlines make it seem. And if we're serious about building something better, as I hope my generation will, we need to actually talk about this properly. Let's talk about inequality, since that's always the headline villain. We were told that if some people have more than others, that must be inherently wrong. That's what the authors of The Spirit Level, Kate Pickett and Richard Wilkinson, were talking about in their book. They were essentially saying that inequality is the root cause of all of the problems of modern society, ranging from murder to teenage pregnancy, and, well, it seemed to have convinced a lot of people. But that framing is wrong from the start. Inequality is not a moral crisis. It tells us where things are happening, where demand is shifting, where people are solving problems. It reflects timing and talent and, yes, sometimes luck, but it's not failure. And the crazy idea that wealth can be distributed equally like slices of a cake is just completely wrong. And this book, An Introduction to Economic Inequality by Eamon Butler, describes it perfectly well. The link to the book for free should be in the description below. The question shouldn't be, why do some people have more? It should be, can anyone rise? Because if people can take risks, fall down and get back up again, that shows that the system is functioning perfectly well. If you agree with me and you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button and to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, so that you can help our community grow further. If you've stayed with me this far, I have an opportunity for you. We are officially open to contributor applications. If you would like to help inform the next generation of young people, we are looking for people who want to film themselves, filming reels or shorts on topics such as politics, economics, social commentary, writing articles on our Substack. Our weekly Thursday articles cover everything from policy to pop culture, and also managing socials if you would like to help shape our voice across platforms like Substack, YouTube, and Instagram, and potentially more in the future. If this seems like something you'd be interested in, make sure to send us an email at stateofthedebate@gmail.com outlining why you'd be a good fit. And if you think that you know other people who would be interested in this opportunity, make sure to share this episode with them. Here's a stat that never gets airtime. In the USA, over half of households in the bottom 20% move up within a decade. That's mobility. That's what actually matters. In the UK, the top 1% pay nearly 30% of all income tax. The top 10% pay nearly 60% of all total tax revenue. So when people say they're not paying their fair share, I ask, what do you mean by fair? Now let's talk about the gender pay gap, because this one gets weaponized constantly. You've heard the stat, a woman earns 80 pence for every £1 a man earns. But this number, it's completely raw data. It doesn't account for job type, hours worked, career breaks. It's like comparing apples and oranges. When you factor all of these different things in, the gap shrinks. In some cases, it disappears completely. For example, there was a study on young doctors. The men earned 41% more than their female counterparts. Sounds bad, right? But the men also worked 500 hours per year more. Once you account for this, the gap disappears completely. And when you compare never married women to never married men past childbearing age, women actually tend to earn more. So what's really going on here? Women disproportionately choose flexibility, stability, and caregiving roles. They opt out of 60-hour-a-week high-pressure roles. That's not oppression. That's a trade-off that these women are willingly making. And by treating every single gap as some form of discrimination, we actually erase that autonomy. And what we're doing is infantilizing these women. Talking of women, which is partly what my episode 4 was about. My gosh, the debates in the comments section were quite something. I promise that I do read every single comment, so do let me know in the comment section below of this episode, do you think that the gender pay gap is real? Somebody asked me, if the gender pay gap was real, why do companies hire men? And I think it's actually a pretty fair question. But this obsession with equality has led to the rise of socialism, and oh my gosh, it is everywhere. It's exploding, from TikTok explainers to political manifestos, eat the rich, abolish landlords. It's got an aesthetic and it's gaining traction. In the UK, Jeremy Corbyn just launched a brand new socialist party along with Zara Sultana, promising mass redistribution of wealth and power and nationalising industries. It's got no name at the moment, but over 700,000 people signed up in the first week. Meanwhile, in New York, Zohran Mamdani just won the mayoral primary, running on a socialist platform with rent freezes and a city-owned grocery store and nationalising utilities. But here's the thing, just because something is emotionally satisfying doesn't mean that it's economically sound. Socialism is rising not because it works, but because it feels like justice in a world where fairness can't even be defined. Or anything, actually. Nothing's got a definition anymore.
What is a woman?
I don't think it's defined.
So why is socialism rising now? I guess it's because it's got a kind of story to it. You know, you have the villains, who are the billionaires, and you have the heroes, which are the activists. Also, economic literacy is collapsing. Most people don't know how wealth is created. They think it's just handed out like monopoly money. So when they see inequality, they automatically assume that it's theft, not innovation. Also, my generation, we grew up post-2008. We saw the financial crisis lead to wages stagnating and housing become a joke. So yes, we're angry. But let me tell you that socialism is not the answer. Here's what no one tells you. Socialism doesn't eliminate inequality. It just replaces economic inequality with political inequality. And the cost? Innovation dies, incentives vanish, growth flatlines. Let's talk about wealth taxes. They may sound noble, just a little slice from the rich, but in practice, they destroy investment. In a low-interest economy, just a 1% wealth tax can actually lead to a 100% tax on returns. And even if you seized all billionaire wealth globally, you'd only be able to give about
£1,280 per person.
That's it. That's the maths. Yes, capitalism creates inequality, but it also creates possibility. It gives people the tools to flourish, to build, to compete. The alternative? Equal misery, state control. Look at Venezuela, North Korea, Soviet Union, not exactly thriving. So yeah, maybe it's time that we rethink the whole narrative. Inequality isn't injustice. The pay gap isn't oppression. If we want real progress, we need real debate. If you've made it this far, you're not just a viewer, you are part of the debate. Make sure to drop your thoughts in the comment section below, to like this episode if you agree with what I'm saying, and to share this episode with at least 3 other people to prove that capitalism isn't cruelty. Thank you so much. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and if you want to contribute, you know where to find us. Thanks, and see you soon.